we have an emoji picker, and when we choose one, we get this object logged to the console. And this object represents an emoji. It has that emoji represented several ways, including the actual native Unicode character. One of those ways is the colons, which is I'm kind of used to for like being able to type it in the actual body. So let's keep in mind that's one of the ways we can uniquely identify these things, and that might be the one that I want to use. So we need to do something with this. We know how to get that, but we need to actually save that on the message. So messages right now look something like this. They have an ID. They have a body. They have a user. It's an object. They have a created at. They have a timestamp, right? And so what if they also had reactions? And that could be an object. It could be an array too, but I think I like the idea of an object better because the way I want it to work when it's finished is we'll have the list of reactions down here and we'll keep track of how many times each one has been used. So if several people did sunglasses, you know, we not only want to show that emoji, we want to show the number right next to it. So it'd be easy to look it up by whichever emoji it was, like in this example, colon, chipmunk, colon, and have that point to this object that's, or maybe that's an array. Maybe that points to an array then that just lists which user did it. So it's an array of users. So that way we could show who all has done that. We could also very quickly get the number of people by just getting the length of this array. How about that? Yeah.
So if we want to like find all of the properties or attributes inside the object at like one specific point of your code, what's the best way to do that?
Can you phrase that a little differently?
Yeah, so let's say I have a method and an object is, we have an object parameter.
Uh-huh.
We want to, and we want to get like maybe the ID of that object or the or just different like attributes inside that object.
Uh-huh.
What would be the best way to like trace back and find what those attributes are?
So you already have the object in some sort of variable? You want to know what the attributes are, or what their values are?
Yeah.
Well, object.keys does that, right? So object.keys gets you a list of what all the attributes are as an array.
Sometimes when I do, let's say object.id or something, but turns out it's not ID, it's actually UID, and it takes me a long time to figure that out.
Oh, you mean like when you're troubleshooting?
Yeah.
You can always use the console, right? So if you,
$. So.
well, but you can even just do like console log like we're doing right now. But I say console.log emoji, and so then when I pick one, it does this, right? So let's do that again. Zipper mouth face. So now I can see exactly what's in it.
I think I use alert, so whenever
Okay.
I'm alerted, it would automatically.
Yeah, so alert isn't very useful because it converts everything to a string first. Console.log does not do that. So if it's something like an object, it doesn't convert it to a string first. It actually logs the object in a way that you can interact with it. Another way is to throw debugger in there, and then you can actually use the console to inspect the thing. So yeah, debugger and console.log are both pretty good at doing that thing. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't understand the question at first. So yeah, so that's just what we're doing here. So ultimately, I want reactions to be stored like this on our message objects. So let's see. We're going to be modifying the message, which means we're going to be modifying the array of messages, which lives in state in the chat component, right? So chat has this.state.messages. So this is where that method needs to live that does this. So here's add message. So I'll have another one called add reaction. And what arguments is it going to need? What does it need to know from the outside in order to add the reaction? It needs to know which message it's adding it to, so we need to pass a message in. And it needs to know which emoji it's reacting with. So some of our messages will have that reactions property on them, and some of them won't. So before we add the reaction, we should make sure that that property exists. So I can say messages dot reactions equal messages dot reactions or empty object. That way I don't try to say messages dot reactions dot something and have it say cannot find property whatever of undefined, which is an error you get a lot. I didn't mean messages, I meant message. So then message dot reactions I said would point to an array. Or reactions is an object, and then at each point there will be an array. So message dot reactions square bracket emoji. That's where we're going to put this. So if that's already there, then we just want to add to it, right? We just want to add a new user to that array. But if it's not there, we want to make sure it's actually an array before we start calling push on it. Otherwise, we will get cannot find property push of undefined. So we will say message.reactions square bracket that emoji equals message.reactions that emoji or empty array. So we're just ensuring that message.reactions is an object and that message.reactions square bracket that emoji is an array. Once we've done that, all we need to do is message.reactions square bracket that emoji dot push the current user, which is this dot props dot user. And that's how we're going to store them. So then we just need to update state with that now that we've done that. So we need the list of messages out of state because that's what we're actually changing. Const messages equals a copy of this dot state dot messages. So it's not the individual message that's on state, it's the array, right? So we have to change the array. So we need to find it in the array. It's not an object, it's an array. So find index is what we need to do. So messages dot find index takes a callback just like find, but we're not hunting through an array or through a generic object. We're hunting through an array. So each item in messages will be a message. So MSG, since the variable name message is already taken. And I just need to find the index of the element of the array where message.id equals message.id. And save that as I. Then I can say messages square bracket I equals the message that I want to add the reaction to. Then I just update state. Get it? So we need to do that from inside message. So we need to pass that down. So add reaction needs to be passed down as a prop through message list. Add reaction equals this dot add reaction. Then in message list, here's message. So we need to pass in add reaction equals, this is a class, so add reaction equals this dot props dot add reaction. And then that'll be available inside here. So handle emoji select, instead of console logging the emoji, should call this dot props dot add reaction. And we need to pass in the message, which is this dot props dot message. And we need to pass in this emoji. But this emoji, what we console logged there was an object, right? And the way I wrote the other method, it just expects that string. So I wish I hadn't cleared the console, but I did. Let's put it back real quick. So I want emoji dot colons. I want this thing. I want like colon chipmunk colon. So I call this dot props dot add reaction, passing in the message and passing in emoji dot colons. And let's see what that does for us. There we go. And it explodes. Cool. Find index is not a function. Here's find index. Messages. This dot state dot messages. Find index is not a function. Isn't messages an array? Yeah. Where's my sync state? Sync messages. Sync state as array true. What did I do? Messages like, oops. Do you see what I did? So I want this local variable messages to contain a copy of this dot state dot messages. So I use the spread operator, but it's an array, not an object. So this needs to be in square brackets, not curly braces. Copy of an array, not an object. There we go. Let's add a reaction. Okay, don't see anything. Let's look at the data. React DevTools. Chat. Messages. That should be the last one. And look, there's reactions. I have joy, and it's got one thing in there, and that is the user who did it. All right, it worked. So we can add reactions, we're just not displaying them yet. But by golly, we are storing them in the database. So that's pretty cool already. Add reactions to messages. Now we just need to figure out how to show them.